Every pet owner faces this moment one day, when love means letting go. The hardest act of love is knowing when it's time. Red Heart. Let's talk about it together.
Talking about the end of our pet's life is, well, it's one of the absolute toughest things we ever have to do as pet parents. It is a time that's just filled with so much love, but also so much pain and these incredibly hard questions. So, okay, let's get into this and see if we can find a little bit of clarity together. I mean, if you've ever truly loved a pet, this image, it just hits you, right? It's that quiet moment where you're holding them and you just know that a big change is on the horizon, and you're suddenly facing this decision that feels absolutely impossible, a responsibility that just weighs so heavily on your heart. And this is the question. This is the one that echoes in your head and keeps you up at night. You're just desperately looking for a sign, for some kind of certainty in a moment that has none. And that fear, the fear of choosing too soon or, even worse, waiting too long, it's just a massive burden to carry. To even begin to answer that question, we've got to get our heads around a really fundamental and tough fact. Our pets, the animals we love so much, are literally hardwired to hide their pain from us. It's a deep, primal survival instinct, and it can make it incredibly difficult for us to see what's really going on beneath the surface.
And this quote, man, it just nails it. You have to remember, in the wild, animals like cats are both predators and prey. Showing any kind of weakness would make them a target. So, what do? They suffer in silence, often until the pain is just completely overwhelming. And our job as their family is to learn their very subtle language of discomfort.
So how in the world do we do that? How do we learn to see what they're trying so hard to hide? Well, it really starts with a shift in our perspective and, honestly, arming ourselves with the right knowledge. It's all about learning to see what they simply can't tell us with words.
Okay, so first things first, we have to be on the same page about something really important: animal sentiency. This is the scientific fact that animals can feel a whole range of emotions, both positive and negative, and that includes pain. They don't just feel the ouch physically, they feel the fear, the anxiety, and all the emotional distress that goes with it. Really getting that is the absolute foundation of compassionate care.
And, it's also super important to get that not all pain is created equal. There's a huge difference here: adaptive or acute pain. That's the useful kind. It's your body screaming, "Hey, that stove is hot, don't touch it." It protects you. But maladaptive or chronic pain, that's a whole different beast. It's not a symptom anymore. The pain itself has become the disease. It actually rewires the nervous system to be in this constant state of high alert. It has zero useful purpose, and all it does is chip away at their quality of life.
So, how do we spot this awful chronic pain? Well, thankfully, we actually have tools that experts have created to help us out. The Feline Grimace Scale is an absolutely brilliant, practical way for every single one of us to become little pain detectives just by learning how to read our cat's face.
Okay, so just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got a relaxed, happy cat. See how the ears are forward, eyes are wide open, the muzzle's all nice and round? Now look at the cat on the right. The signs are subtle, but they are so clear once you know what to look for. The ears are kind of flattened and turned out, the eyes are squinted shut, the whole muzzle area is tense, and the whiskers are pulled forward. Learning to see this, it's a total game changer.
And it's not just their face, right? There's so many other little behavioral clues. And a lot of these are things we might just brush off as, oh, they're just getting old. But suddenly, not wanting to jump on the bed, or maybe they've stopped grooming themselves as much, or they get a little grumpy when you try to pet them. Those aren't just signs of aging. So often, they're actually signs of chronic, hidden pain.
And when the pain gets really bad, their whole body starts to tell the story. This kind of hunched over, tense posture, with their head held low, that is a crystal clear signal that they are suffering, and suffering a lot. These are not cats who are just relaxing. They are deeply uncomfortable.
So, okay, recognizing pain is a huge piece of this puzzle. But it's not the whole story. We need to kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture, which is their overall quality of life.
And this is where a tool like this scale comes in. It's so helpful because it gives us a way to work through our emotions and look at things a bit more objectively. It takes that vague, awful feeling of, "I think he's getting worse," and breaks it down into specific things we can actually look at: hurt, hunger, hydration, hygiene, happiness, mobility, and that really big one: are there more good days than bad days?
And the best part?
It's actually really easy to use. You just give a score from 0 to 10 for each of those 7 categories. A total score over 35 is generally seen as an acceptable quality of life. Now, it's not a magic formula, but it gives you a concrete number you can use to track how things are changing over time, and it gives you something solid to talk about with your vet.
So, you've been watching, you've been tracking, you've been using these tools, and eventually you arrive at the decision itself. And this is the moment where your head and your heart have to somehow find a way to agree.
This quote from Carol, a pet owner just like us, wow, it just perfectly sums up that terrible tug of war inside your heart, doesn't it? You know they're suffering, but your love for them creates this powerful, desperate hope for just one more good day, one more little miracle. And that hope can make the decision feel like a total betrayal.
So let's just take a moment and be really clear about what we're talking about here. Euthanasia. The word itself literally means a good death. It's a medical procedure. It's a final gift, a final kindness we can offer to end irreversible suffering when there are no other options left.
And that's the thing. This is never, ever a decision you make on a whim. There are very clear, ethical guidelines. It's for when their well-being is just gone and there's no coming back. It's for when pain can't be managed anymore, and when that quality of life score is telling a story of far more bad days than good. And most importantly, it's a shared decision, one you make with the guidance of the veterinarian who's been on this journey right alongside you.
I think this is maybe the single most important thing to hear. Choosing euthanasia is not giving up. It is not quitting. It is looking at your beloved friend, your family member, and saying, I love you too much to let you suffer anymore. It is the ultimate, most selfless act of love.
But even when you know in your heart that you've made the most loving decision, that doesn't just make the pain of the loss magically disappear, does it? The grief that comes after is real, it's profound, and often it's really complicated.
A lot of us go through something that actually has a name. It's called disenfranchised grief. It's kind of a fancy term for a really simple and really painful idea. It's when your grief isn't seen as real or legitimate by the people around you. They might say things like, oh, it was just a cat, or you can just get another one. And it just minimizes a loss that feels absolutely monumental to you.
And this quote from a grief study, it just breaks my heart because it is so true. You're not just dealing with your own immense sorrow, you're also dealing with this added pressure, this feeling that you have to hide it, that your pain isn't valid, and that can make the grieving process feel incredibly lonely.
So maybe the best way we can honor our pets and honor our own hearts is to try and reframe it like this. The depth of our pain is really just a measure of the depth of our love. That giant hole they leave behind in our lives only exists because they filled that space with so much joy and so much companionship and so much unconditional love. And that is always a price worth paying.